Okay, this is the new OPPO Find X5 Pro. In the sea of smartphones that we are in right now, OPPO has some interesting ways to differentiate its new flagship smartphone from the others. So let's go in depth and see what's so different about the new OPPO Find X5 Pro. Let's take a look at the design of this phone first. I don't think it has changed much from the previous generation, the Find X3 Pro, in terms of its overall shape and also size. Even the back panel is still the same super glossy and slippery material too. However, there are a few things here. Number one is the writing Mari Silicon at the camera bump here. And the second thing that we need to take note of is of course the Hasselblad branding at the bottom here, which is beside the OPPO logo. With that in mind, let's now talk about the cameras. We have a total of 3 cameras at the back of this phone and all of them are usable to take pictures, which is already a good sign. But it's a little bit bittersweet since OPPO removed the microscope camera in favor of a 2x telephoto camera for this generation of their flagship smartphone. OPPO put a lot of effort to enhance the camera capabilities of the Find X5 Pro and even developed their own chip to enhance these cameras' photography and videography capabilities too. Introducing the Mari Silicon X, which is not just an NPU, but it's a combination of an ISP and an NPU together, plus another memory subsystem to enable high read and write speeds for those 2 chips so that it can even perform faster and process your images faster. We'll get more into that later. And looking at the pictures that we've taken with this phone, it actually looks fantastic whether it's on a super sunny day or a gloomy day. The pictures look fantastic across all 3 cameras, though the color consistency is a little weird since the main and ultra wide angle camera have a very cool tone, but when we switch over to the telephoto camera to take the same scene, it looks very warm. Again, this is a small issue that OPPO can easily fix by just pushing out a firmware update. And then when the night fell, the first thing that I'm impressed with is the speed that it takes those night shots. Usually, night mode will require us to just stand there like a statue and hold the phone steadily to take the picture. However, the Find X5 Pro did that really quickly and it just took about 2 seconds compared to 5 or 6 seconds on other flagship smartphones that I've tried at the same time. And thanks to the superbly advanced OIS built into the Find X5 Pro, the shots were never blurry, and yeah, my hands were shaking at the time because it was also kind of sweaty and slippery, but the OIS system managed to compensate all of that. But when it comes to videos though, the OIS system has a side effect. I'm not sure you're familiar with the term angle snapping, whereby it will snap to either perfectly horizontal or perfectly vertical axis. For this phone, it's a bit too aggressive and it made the natural hand movement of the camera panning look a bit unnatural. Still, if I didn't move the phone around, the video looks as though it's on a tripod. And to view all of the pictures and videos that we've taken with the Find X5 Pro, this phone also comes with a 6.7-inch AMOLED screen that goes up to 120Hz refresh rate and a resolution of 3216 by 1440 pixels. Of course, those specs mean nothing, so let's take our colorimeter and test our color accuracy of this phone here. And at 100 nits of brightness, this phone can go 99.59% of sRGB and 98.52% of DCI-P3 color gamuts. And for those who are concerned about broad daylight outdoor usage, the maximum brightness of this phone here is at about 486 nits of brightness for our particular unit here, which is sufficient to be used under broad daylight but maybe not on an extremely sunny day. As for the performance, the OPPO Find X5 Pro, I think it's rather standard here because this is a flagship smartphone, so it comes with the standard Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chipset and it manages to perform really well in games like Genshin Impact, managing to achieve at around 40 to 45 FPS consistently at the highest graphical settings. And it also maintained a very low surface temperature because its hottest spot, which is just around this side here, is only at about 42 degrees Celsius at most. For the battery life though, this is rather straightforward as well. At 100 nits of brightness, it lasted about 10 hours and 50 minutes in our PC Mark 10's battery life test, which is not the best because we kind of know how inefficient the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 really is. However, for the charging side of things, OPPO has an 80-watt Super VOOC flash charge charger inside the box, and this phone can be charged from 12 to 100% in only about 35 minutes time, which is very quick. And now let's take a look at the software then. The OPPO Find X5 Pro, being the company's latest flagship smartphone, it's running the latest Android 12 with ColorOS 12.1. I'm still liking ColorOS 12 so far since the setting menu and overall user experience is actually good. It's just that there are a lot of bloatware and apps that cannot be uninstalled, like hot games, hot apps, and also the app market that serves really no purpose. Moreover, there are a lot of ads and bloatware too. Plus, this Quick Device Connect asks me for permission to scan nearby devices and I cannot dismiss it, but I can turn off the notification for the entire Quick Device Connect though. I'd say the user experience is still quite okay overall. OPPO committed 3 Android updates and 4 years of security updates for the OPPO Find X series of smartphones, so I presume the Find X5 Pro is within that group too. And a few more things that I want to mention here is that the OPPO Find X5 Pro is IP68 rated, which is good. And at the bottom here, we also have a proper USB 3.0 port for fast transfer speeds. And that port also supports HDMI output, which is something good. And so we've arrived at the end of this review. At the price of $4,999, it's surely a hefty price, but I think the OPPO Find X5 Pro meets my expectation at least, and it shows us that they are competent in making a proper flagship smartphone. I'm surely gonna take OPPO flagship smartphones seriously after reviewing this phone because they've proved themselves to be actually competent against the other flagship smartphones in the market. So yeah, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!